Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over our 5.1 through 5.4 mid-quiz review. Remember, when you're looking at this, first of all, your test is Thursday, and second of all, how you do it is you look at the problem, you pause me, you do the problem on your own, then press the play button and see if your answer matches up with my answer. So this test has a lot over ratios, rates, and unit rates, and also better by, which is what we talked about in class. So first, let's start talking about ratios. So this question says, write the ratio of smiley faces to hearts and explain what that means. So we have our ratios here. We have our smiley faces there. Hold on a second, let me get my pen. We have smiley faces over here, and we have hearts over here. So our ratio is going to be of smiley faces to hearts, because that's what the directions say. Now, our ratio is going to be 6 to 4. Remember, when we're writing our ratios, we don't really care about the units, but we didn't do one thing here. Whenever you write ratios, you always have to simplify. You always have to simplify. So 6 to 4 is not the most simplified version. The most simplified would be 3 to 2. So 3 to 2 would be your final answer. Now for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're looking for ratios. So our ratio, we need it of lightning bolts, because that comes first, and moons come second. So lightning bolts we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 to our moons, which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our ratio is 4 to 7. We don't care about our units necessarily, but we do have to make sure this answer is simplified. There's nothing that can go into 4 and 7 besides 1, so that would be our final answer. Alright, so what our next question asks us to do here is that we need to find the missing values in the ratio table. So I gave you a table, and I also gave you these first two values. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use these first two values to fill out the rest of the table. So I need to figure out, how do I multiply or divide to get from 5 to 15? Now the only way to do that would be to multiply by 3. Okay? So whatever I do down here, I know I also need to do up top. So I multiply that by 3. 3 times 3, that's going to give me 9 for this box. Now what I need to figure out is how I got from 9 to 12 using multiplication or division. Now that's a bit tough, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to start back at our first value. We have 3. What can we multiply by 3 or divide by 3 to get 12? There's only one answer. We'd have to multiply by 4, which means we start with this 5 also, and we multiply by 4. 3 times 4 gets us 12. 5 times 4 gets us 20. So we fill in the box. We would have 3, 9, 12, and 5, 15, 20. Now for this next one, we are doing the same thing. We start with 2 and 3. We need to figure out what we multiply or divide by to get to 8. That answer is, of course, 4. So I'm going to multiply by 4 here also. 3 times 4, that gives me 12. Now I need to figure out how to get from 12 to 33. That's a bit tough, because I don't know right off the bat how I get from 12 to 33. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start back where I started. So I'm going to look at this 3. What can I multiply or divide to get 33? The only answer is 11. So I multiply by 11 here, which means over here, I'm also going to have to multiply by 11. 2 times my 11 is going to give me 22. So if I were to fill in this box, I would have 2, 8, 22, and 3, 12, and 33. Now the next type of question asks us, it says you can buy an 8-pack of Coke for $6.93 or a 6-pack of root beer for $4.87. Which one is the better buy? So we did a lot of these in class, but how we're going to do this is we're going to set up two rates. Our first rate, we're going to say is C, that's going to stand for Coke. Our second rate is going to be R, and that stands for root beer. So for Coke, it says that we can buy an 8-pack for $6.93. Actually, though, what I'm going to do is, since we're looking at cost, I'm actually going to put the cost on top and the size on the bottom. So $6.93 for an 8-pack. And we also have $4.87 for a 6-pack. So what we're going to do now is we're going to figure out how we figure out the better buy. Now there's a couple ways to do this. We have 8 here and we have 6 here. One way to do this is to find the common denominators. That's the way I'll do this one. So we have 8 and we have 6. The common denominator that they can both go into, our LCD, in other words, is going to be, let's see, we have 8, 16, 24. It's going to be 24. Okay, that's going to be my LCD is 24. So what times 8 gets me 24? That's 3. And then what times 6 gets me 24? That is going to be 4. So whatever I do at the bottom, I also do the top. Now I know for my problem on the bottom, I'm going to have a 24 pack for both of these now. But I need to figure out what I'm going to have on top. So you are going to do the multiplication on pencil and paper. I'm going to tell you the answer that I got so that you can check if you're right. So for the first one, we have $6.93 times 3, which is going to give us $20.79. For this other one, we have $4.87 times 4, which is $19.48. So if I'm asking which one's the better buy, it's obviously going to be B. For the root beer. Alright, the next one asks us to write a rate that represents the situation. I don't know why all of these things are in black. I tried to change it to white text so you could see it better, but you're just going to have to bear with me. So when we're writing a rate, and we see a table like this, what we're going to do is we're going to take a top number and the bottom number that corresponds to it. You can't pick 20 and 3 because those don't line up. So if you pick 20, you also have to pick 6. So we have 20, and we have 6. We know with our rates or our ratios, we need to put that colon, and then with our rates, you cannot forget units. So we have 20 liters, and we have 6 minutes. Now, when we're writing rates, just like with ratios or anything else, we always have to simplify. This is not the most simplified version. The most simplified version would be, let's see, a number that can go into both 20 and 6 would be 2. So we have 10 liters, and then we have 3 minutes. So we would say that 10 liters for 3 minutes. Okay? Remember, you cannot forget your labels. Now the next question asks us to decide which of the following rates are equivalent. We have A, which is 25 pages in 5 minutes, and we have B, which is 14 pages in 6 minutes. So I'm going to start by writing the rates. So we have 25 pages in 5 minutes, and we also have 14 pages in 6 minutes. So you might be able to kind of tell the answer without looking at it, but the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to simplify both of these rates as far down as I can. So this one simplifies down into 5 pages per minute, and this one simplifies down into 7 pages for 6 minutes. So since they don't simplify into the same thing, because this one's 5 per minute and this one's 7 pages per 6 minutes, we're going to say that they are not equivalent. Our next one is asking us to write a unit rate. Remember that this word unit rate is very important. Unit means one, just like a unicycle has one wheel, a unicorn has one horn. The uni means 1. So we need our rate to be over 1. Also, if you're listening this far into the test, on your test, if you are first hour, I want you to draw a wheel like I did right here. If you're second hour, I want you to draw this unicorn horn. If you're third hour, I want you to write the number 1. Or sorry, not third. If you're fifth hour, I want you to write the letter 1. And if you're sixth hour, I want you to draw a face, draw eyes. Actually, I just want you to draw a smiley face, just like that, on the top right of your paper for all of these. So first hour, draw that wheel at the top right. Second hour, horn the top right. Third hour, and so on. So whenever we're finding unit rate, the first thing we're going to have to do is write our usual rate. So we have, let me get a pen. We have $2.83 for 6 avocados. That's how you spell it, I think. So now what we're going to have to do is figure out how we're going to get this to be 1 avocado. The only way to do that is to divide by 6. Okay? So now on the bottom, I'm going to be left with 1 avocado, but I need to figure out what I have on top. So you're going to do that on your paper. You have to do $2.83 divided by 6, but here's the answer just to make sure you're right. $2.83 divided by 6 if you did that division correctly, you should have got 47 cents over one avocado. Another way to say this is 47 cents per avocado. Remember how I kept my labels here? Make sure that you do that on your test also. Now, number 10. That says you earn, well, this is our 10th question. It says you earn $35 for washing 7 cars. How much do you earn for washing 4 cars? So let's write our rate first. We have $35 for 7 cars. We need to figure out how many that's going to be for 4 cars. The easiest way to do this, because you will have one like this on your test, is to turn this into a unit rate. So if I need to make this over 1, I'm going to divide by 7 here, and I'm going to divide by 7 there. 35 divided by 7 is $5 for 1 car. So if I know it's $5 for 1 car, I need to figure out how much money would it be for 4 cars. So in order to get from here to where I'm trying to end up, which is 4 cars, I'm going to multiply by 4. On the top and the bottom, I would get $20 for 4 cars. That would be my answer. Another way I could say it is just $20, because that's the cost and that's what I'm asking, is how much. Alright, on this test, just like on other tests, you're going to have a part 2. The part 2 is going to be over review material. So one of the things that is going to be on your test is how to multiply decimals. So write down this problem. We have 0.67 times 1.53. If I'm asking you to do this question, how you need to do it is first keep track of how many points are behind the decimal. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So my final answer, that's going to become important. Now we're just going to do the multiplication like we normally would. 3 times 7, that's 21, so I'm going to put a 1 here. Carry the 2 up there. 3 times 6, that's 18, plus 2 is 20, so I'm going to put a 2 here. And a 2 there. I'm going to go to my next number, which means I'm going to drop a 0. 5 times 7, that is 35. So now this 2 is going to turn into a 3. 5 times 6, that is 30, plus 3 is 33. And then finally, I'm going to drop 2 zeros. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 6 is 6. I add everything. I'm going to get 1, 5, 12. Okay, so this is my number, but I had 4 places behind the decimal, so that means in my final answer, I'm going to start at the right and move 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3. So my final answer is going to be 1.0251. Okay, that is going to be my final answer. Now another thing that's going to be on your test, just like on the last one, is mean, median, and mode. So remember, for mean, median, mode, and there'll also be range on there. So I'm going to give you some numbers: 3, 7, 2, 4, 6. The first thing I need to do before I do anything is put these numbers in order. So it's going to go 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Okay, so this right here, this is going to be the set of numbers that I want to work with, because I put them in order, and that came from these, but this is the one I want. Now, mean, that's just going to be my, well, actually, let's do mean last. Let's start with mode. Mode's the number that I see the most. I see all these numbers once, so I actually don't have a mode. So instead of 0, I'm going to put none. Now for median, that's the middle number. So I'm going to start crossing off. My median is going to be 4. My range, that's going to be my biggest number, which is 7, minus my smallest number, which is 2. So my range is going to be 5. And then my mean, what I do for that is I add up all of my numbers. So I add 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. If you add all those up, you're going to get, let's see, that's 5, 9, 15, 22. You add them all up, and you divide by how many there are. So there's 1 number, 2 numbers, 3 numbers, 4 numbers, 5 numbers. I do 22 divided by 5. I'm going to get 4 and 2/5, or you could leave it as a decimal, it wouldn't matter. But let's move this over here. So my mean's 4 and 2/5, my median's 4, my mode, I don't have one, so I put none, and my range is 5. Alright, that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you look over this review material for your test so that you don't get confused. Also, make sure that you're looking at these the right way. Pause it, do it yourself, then play and see if our answers match up. Thank you very much, and good luck on your test tomorrow.